Okay, we're going to begin square number 14, and today I'm using Premier Basic in Ember, and I am also using the G hook. This square comes out larger than the others, so I'm going to use the G hook. So you're going to 30 loosely. Which basically means just don't get your chain too tight. Okay, now that you have your 30, this is row 1, single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Chain 1, skip the next chain, single crochet in the next, and repeat. So skip 1, single crochet in the next. Oops, I forgot the chain 1. Chain 1, skip 1, and single crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. All the way to the other end. Coming up to the end, we end with that chain 1, skip 1, and single crochet, and you should have 29 stitches. Now you're going to chain 1 and turn, and let's see, we need to mark that front as that's the one we just did. That's going to be our front of our work. Okay, so we did a chain 1 and turn. Now for row 2, you're going to do single crochet in the first single crochet, and you want to go through both of those front and back loops. Then you're going to single crochet in the first chain space, let's see, let's look at this from the other side. Okay, there's your space. So you're going to do your single crochet right here, and then you're going to go into the space right there. So that right there is your first one, and then there's your space. So now you're going to chain 1, and you're going to go into the next single crochet space, just right there. See your spaces? So right here, chain 1, there's the next space over there, chain 1 to the next space, all the way across. Now when we get down here to the end, it's a chain one, go into that last space, and then you're going to do a single crochet in this last single crochet down here. But that's not a chain one, because we did not do a chain one on this end either. We did a single crochet in that end one, and then we went right into the space and did a single crochet, and then we did our chain one, and then into the space, chain one, into the space, chain one, into the space, all the way to the end. And at the end you end with a chain one into the space, and then just do the single crochet. That's row 2. And then you're going to chain one and turn. Now for row number 3, we're going to single crochet into the first single crochet, then we're going to chain one and single crochet into the chain one space, which is right there. Chain one and into the space. You can feel it with your fingers. And you can see it because here you see like the stitch, the bottom of the stitch right there. See that V right there? Here's where you're going, then you're going to go over here. There's that other little V, you're right over here. Those are the spaces. This is called the seed stitch. Now you won't get lost if you remember we're doing row 3. We should see our marker for the front side. When you're doing row 2, you will be on the back side. Now here at the end, you're going to get down to the last 2. So we did our chain one. We're going to come down here. We're going to do this last one here, and then in the end for our 2 single crochets. Chain one and turn. Now remember on row 2, you're going to do that single crochet, and then single crochet in the space. And then you do your chain one. Whereas with chain 3, row 3, you do your single crochet, chain one, and then into the space. And that is your repeat for rows 2 and 3. If you get confused, just go back because these are very similar. So just go back and see row 2 and row 3 again, and that's your repeat until you get all the way to the top, and you'll have 7 inches of square. And that's looking pretty good, because we want this to be 7 by 7 before we put our border on. Okay, here is square number 14, and it's called the seed stitch. And I really feel like, depending on what size hook you use and the yarn that you use, determines what this looks like. Because see, when you stretch it, you've got this little seed looking thing. I don't know if that is coming through for you guys or not, but I'd see it. It looks like the shape of a little seed. I don't know if that's why they call that or not. Now when you stretch it this way, you don't get much out of it. It shrinks in. But that's a really, I feel like it would be a nice drape if you used a larger hook for this stitch. I also feel like as itself, this is another one that would make a great washcloth. So I'm probably going to pull a few of these out and do some washcloths out of them. So square number 14, seed stitch. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Now we're going to do square number 15. Here we go. Okay, we are back for square number 15. Now this square is called the Afghan square, and it is worked from the center out. So go ahead and make your loop, your beginning loop. Put that on your hook and chain 8. And I'm using my H hook. I'm going to join with the slip stitch to the to the last stitch on your chain here before the knot. Pull through it, pull through your working loop, and that's your slip stitch. Now you're going to chain 3, and that's going to count as a double crochet. I'm going to yarn over. We're going to go into our loop. We're going to go into our circle here. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now you have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, go through 2 loops. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. Now you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those, and that's your first cluster. Now you're going to chain 5, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to work the next cluster, and this is how we're going to do it. Going to yarn over, insert the hook into the ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, and draw through 2 loops. And we're going to do that 3 times. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So now you have 4 hoops on the hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 4. That's our second cluster. Now we're going to do that again. We're going to chain 2. Instead of chaining 5, we're going to chain 2. And you're going to work a cluster by doing cluster, chain 5, cluster, and then chain 2 again. So that's what we did. We did a cluster, we did a chain 5, and we did a cluster, and then we chained 2. Now we're going to do that again. So yarn over, go in, go through 2, yarn over, go in, go through 2, yarn over, go in, and go through 2. Now we have 4 on the hook, and yarn over and pull through all 4. Now chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And do another cluster. 1, 2, and 3, and pull through all 4. So that's what we did. We did that first one, now we did another one, and we need to do one more. So chain 2, and then do that section here. So here, see, we have basically have one side now. Here's our 5 in each corner. These are going to be our corners. So we're going to do that next cluster, and we'll do a chain 5, and then we will do another cluster, and we'll wind up with 4 of these chain 5s, and that will make it a square. And you don't want to pull this tight because you're putting your stuff in here, so you don't pull on this. Like a lot of people know to pull your square tight in the center, but we're not wanting to because we want to fit all of our stitches in, and we'll pull on that and make it fairly snug afterwards. Okay, so let's do our cluster sequence again. We did our chain 2. Now we're going to do another cluster. 1, 2, 3. There's 4 hoops on the hook. Pull through all 4. Chain 5. And another cluster. Four hoops on the hook. Pull through all of them. Now chain 2. Now we're going to work one more cluster. I'm going to pull that over. One more cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4 hoops on the hook, pull through all 4, chain 5. Now the next cluster. Four hoops, pull through all of them. Now do a chain 2, and you're going to join at the slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain for the cluster. So that's our chain 5. This was our chain, see, here's our 3 here where we started. This was the starting chain, which counts as our double crochet. We're going to slip stitch right into the top of that. So you did your chain 2 here. Now you're just going to slip stitch in here, through and through. Now you have your square. You have your 4 corners. With those chain 5s made you 4 corners. Now you can pull this tight a little bit, and then I would leave it, and personally I'm going to leave mine, and then I'm going to put it back in after, weave the end in after I get done, and allow my square to have its way of making its shape. Okay, now we want to put a different color yarn on the front of this. All right, for round 2, because when you're working in a square, the Afghan and the granny square are done in rounds generally. So that's why this is called a round. So that was round 1, and then now we're going to do round 2. So you're going to slip stitch into the first chain 5 space, which is right here. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to come over, put your needle in there, pull up a loop, and pull it through. And now we have brought ourselves over here, and we're in this space right here. Okay. Now we're going to begin a cluster by doing a chain 3. And then we're going to do that cluster right there in that same space. But it's that first one that you do, you're only going to do, so we have 3 loops. Now we have 4. And pull through. Now we're going to chain 3. In our beginning ones we did 5. We're going to do 3 here. And we're going to do another cluster. 1, 2, and 3. Now we have 4. We'll pull through all 4. Now you're going to chain 2. We're going to do double crochets into this space here, right in there. We're going to do 3 double crochets in that, and that's our chain 2 space from before. So go down into here and do 3 double crochets. Chain 2, and now we're going to work our cluster in this corner again. Chain 3, and then another cluster. Now chain 2, and again you're going to work your 3 double crochets into that chain 2 space right there. And chain 2, and that's your sequence for that. Now you're going to do 2 clusters here, your cluster, chain 3 cluster, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, cluster, chain 3, cluster, and I'll meet you back around. Okay, I just finished with the last side doing the 3 double crochets and then the chain 2. Now you're going to join at the top of this first cluster with the slip stitch again. And this is how your square should be looking. Looks good. Okay, now we're going to go on to round 3. Now for this round, I am going to join a new color. So I'm going to cut that one. And I'm going to cut it fairly long there. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch over into that space over there. Okay. And now I'm going to join my new color. And with the new color, we're going to work that beginning cluster, which is a chain 3. And then I tighten that up, both of them. Now we'll finish that beginning cluster. chain 3, and another cluster. Then you're going to chain 2. Now after that cluster, we do a chain 2. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to do 2 double crochets in this first chain 2 space. And then without chaining, we're going to double crochet in the top of these 3 double crochets. And then double crochet in that next chain 2 space. Twice. So do 2 double crochets again. Now we're going to chain 2. And now we're going to do our cluster sequence in this corner again. So cluster, chain 3, and now we'll do another cluster. Chain 2. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets in this first chain 2 space. And without chaining, we're going to double crochet in the top of these 3 double crochets. And 2 double crochets in that next chain 2 space. Chain 2. And now you're going to work your cluster in this corner. And so that's what you do for these 4 sides. And then when we get back over here, when you'll end with the chain 2 and you will join into the top of this chain over here. I'll meet you when we get back over there. So we finished with our chain 2, and we're going to join into the top of that chain that we started with right there with the slip stitch join. Okay, now for rounds 4 and 5, we're going to slip over to this first space right here, this chain 3 space. So slip stitch over there. You're going to chain 3, and we're going to work that first cluster, okay? And then you're going to chain 3. So we do our cluster sequence in the corner with our chain 3 in between. Chain 2. Okay, so after you do your corner, you do your cluster, your chain 3, your cluster, your chain 2, then you do the 2 double crochets right here in that chain 2 space, and then without chaining, you do a double crochet all the way to the other chain 2 space. way over there. And then you'll do 2 double crochets in that chain 2 space. And chain 2 after that. And then you go in here and do your cluster. Chain 3, cluster, then you'll do chain 2, and then 2 double crochets and double crochet over. 2 double crochets, chain 2, all the way around, and that's rows 4 and 5. When you finish rows 4 and 5, then come back and we will see what we are doing. Now I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to reattach my orange here for the last row. So I did row 1 and 2 with the orange. I'm doing 3 and 4 with the green, and then I'm going to do 5 with the orange, and then I may go ahead, we'll see what it looks like, but I may go ahead and do the green to go around the outside of it for my border. Okay, I'll meet you back. Okay, we are back over here. We've gone all the way around, and I have slip stitched back into my corner right here. And I think this is where I'm going to go ahead and join my green back again and do my border with the green. And you'll have to count. Remember, you're going to do 3 in the corner, and you want 25 on the edges. So bring that in through this loop, and I'll do a chain 1 there, tighten everything up. And I'm just showing you these changes. You do not have to change colors. So I'm going to do 3 single crochets in this corner. And then we want 25 stitches across. And we know we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 here. And then 16, 17, 18, 19. So 20, 21, 22, 23. We're going to have to make up for 2 more so that we have our 25. And usually what I do, I'll do this first stitch, and then I'm going to do the second one right here. That's a little harder to get into. That's 2. Here's 3. I could do another one in there. That'd be 4. And then I'll do 5, 6, 7, 8. I will probably somewhere along here do 2, and along here do 2, and evenly distribute them so that I have 25 stitches. And then I'll do 3 in the corner again and do the same thing all the way around. So I'll see you when I get through here, and we'll see how our square looks. And here are our squares, square 14 and square 15. And I had to do 2 rounds of the border on both of them to make them be the 8 inches. So this one was done with a G hook, and this one was done with an H hook. So you just have to keep checking your gauge, guys. When you get started and you get a couple of rounds in and you think that it's not looking right, you just may have to go back. And I'll just try to keep telling you when I switch the hooks back and forth to kind of give you a guide as far as what I'm doing, that maybe that'll help us to keep track going forward. So I hope you like that. The seed stitch is square 14. and the Afghan stitch is square 15. I will see you guys for the next video, and I appreciate you guys doing the cow. Please don't forget, send me a picture of your makes and I will enter your name into the next giveaway. If you would like to put it on the Facebook group, it's Fiber Floozie Crafts on Facebook, and you can email me at fiberflooziecrafts@gmail.com. And yeah, I'd like to see how your squares are looking, and anybody who enters their pictures will be put in for another drawing. So hit the like button and have fun today. Bye, everybody.